Welcome to the Relief from Grief podcast, hosted by Mrs. Miriam Ribiat and brought to you by Mayrim. Mayrim is an organization dedicated to supporting families who have experienced the loss of a child. It was founded Le'ilui Nishmas Nechama Liba and Miriam Holman. Despite her illness, Miriam devoted herself to addressing the needs of parents and siblings grappling with the immense pain of losing a child. She felt this loss deeply, having experienced it firsthand when her older sister, Nechama Liba, passed away. Mayrim continues to uplift and expand on the work Miriam began, a mission carried forward by her parents with great dedication. If you have any questions or comments for the speaker, or if you'd like to suggest a guest for the podcast, please email us at relieffromgrief@mayrim.org.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining me here today on the Relief from Grief by Mayrim podcast. Today, we have on here from Pittsburgh, Rabbi Sutofsky. He is the therapist of the Hill Academy in Pittsburgh, and he also has his private practice. So thank you so much for joining us.
Sure. Happy to.
And yeah, I guess why don't you start with your story about your son?
Okay. So my son Yitzy, or our son Yitzy, he was our youngest boy. 5 children. He's the youngest, and he was an unbelievable son. And basically, he was, really the glue. I start from anywhere, but he's the glue of the family. And he was, unbelievable athlete, unbelievable learner, the coolest kid, the nicest kid, the sweetest kid. Really just a very, very unique kid. We used to go bird watching every single week ever since COVID. That was one of the things the science teacher sent home, try to look at birds, and he could hear probably 20, 30 chirps and tell you exactly, what bird it is. Just such an unbelievable, brilliant kid. Just loved learning, loved davening, and I was very, very close to them because he was the only boy home at the time. My other son was in yeshiva, and the other 3 girls were at home, and connected on many, many different levels, learning and nature and sports. And we were really besties, best friends. And one day his throat was hurting him, and he took my wife's phone to the bathroom, and he looked in the mirror with the flashlight, and he had this very weird swollen thing in the back of his throat. So we went to the doctor. It looked very strange. Went to the doctor. The doctor said, "Oh, it's a swollen tonsil." And then we took antibiotics, and it was hurting him. Every time we went somewhere, he would find a cold compress to lay his face on because it was hurting him. And then we went back a few weeks later. They said, "Oh, it's not working. We'll switch antibiotics." And then they said, "Oh, go to an ENT." And the ENT said, "Oh, it looks like an ear infection of sorts, some sort of infection." So he gave us different antibiotics. And then after it didn't go down, and it was definitely bothering him a lot, my wife took him to the doctor, and they said, "You may want to go to the hospital. It could be cancer." That's what. So, that's. And after that, I could just go. I can go on forever if you want. Basically, we went to the hospital.
How old was he? I don't remember if he said or not.
Yeah. So Yitzy was when he was diagnosed, he was 12. And then he was nifted. He was 10 months later, he was nifted, so he was 13. But yeah, so we went to the doctor, and he ended up having a cancer called rhabdomyosarcoma. I'm not the biggest expert in it. My wife knows everything about it. I kind of went into more of a freeze mode, but rhabdomyosarcoma, he had different mutations and it was really ended up being 1 in a million what he had. And it was not a good, they gave hope in the beginning. They gave it their all. It's a very, very intense treatment. It's a 42-week treatment of very, very harsh chemotherapy and also radiation. Yeah, it was very tough. It was very, very tough. And in the beginning, actually, we had this a major appointment with the doctors. When they let us know exactly what he had. And we already knew because it's on the app. It goes on the UPMC app, your health insurance app. It's already there. So my wife already knew. But we went for this major meeting, And
One
Yitzy,
second. You found out that he has cancer from the app?
I guess because when they put it in your records, like it's in there. So my wife basically
Wow. That's
knew.
horrible.
I mean, maybe she know exactly or whatever, but we knew going in. They already told us, like, they know it's cancer, which kind, they weren't sure. But we had this I don't know, a few hour meeting, maybe like an hour or two, where they went through everything about the cancer and the treatment, everything that can happen during chemo. And my wife is very engaged. The doctor was taking notes, and me and Yitzy were just like hugging each other. And yeah,
Wait, one second. He came in with you to this meeting? He had to hear.
I don't know why. I mean, the doctors asked him to be there, or they just assumed he would be there. He was there.
Wow.
I mean, I think it was over. I mean, I'm not, we were just like kind of frozen together, but really at the end, it was really, really terrible. Like, I don't know why they had him in there, but they said, and because of the chemo, he won't be able to have any children. So, like, Yitzy definitely, he heard it. He wasn't exactly sure what they would say. It's a chance, whatever. But it's a whole different story. But we ended up asking the whole Shiloh, because you could do a surgery that could preserve, something. It was like a whole, it's a whole different part of the story. But yeah, so Yitzy was unbelievable. We started treatments, and basically my wife was like a rock. Mom was a rock. She was, I mean, like, it just never, I guess you never want to see anybody have to go into this type of gear, but like, she was just like nonstop committed 24/7. And Yitzy kind of moved into my bed. I moved into his room, and my wife just took care of him the whole time. And I mean, there were times when it was, it was okay. He, in the beginning, it was very, very rough because they forgot to put him on a certain anti-nausea medication, like an unbelievable oversight, crazy. And he was very, very very weak, lost a lot of weight. But he had weeks where it was good. We would go out, we would, we hung out a lot. We would go take walks and, find snakes, and, I mean, he couldn't really do sports. He was too schwach, very weak, but he definitely gave it his all. He really, really wanted to.
How long was he sick for before he was nifter?
He was sick, I think, for about 10 months. And
Your wife fall apart. Was her like falling apart harder since she was like had to stay? She stayed so strong during when he was sick.
Say again.
Like, because you keep on describing her as a rock while he was sick, when he was actually nifter, was her falling apart like very, very huge and intense?
I mean, she she fell apart because her son was nifter. I don't think it was any more. If anything, I would say it's almost like, I mean, there's a default that it's just super painful and terrible to lose a child. No one should ever have to go through that ever. And I think we definitely, not suffered, but we definitely, we went through that more, the mourning period, Avelis for sure. I think, and it was actually it was excruciating because, we took care of him, but I don't think it was extra hard because she put so much into it. If anything, my wife said a very chashuv line. She said that obviously it's super painful, but it's a very painfully beautiful thing to be able to be with someone from the second they're born to the second they're nifter. It's like you have someone's whole life that you took care of from beginning to end. It's a certain, I don't know, closure or healing part to it. We mamish there for his Yitzias Neshama. We were in the room for that. So like we were there, and my wife was there his whole life, from birth until his last breath. So I think that was almost like a nechama, I would say. It wasn't even extra more painful. I think it was probably more of maybe like a nechama. That's what I think. I mean, he also said a lot of things at the end of his life that gave us a nechama. He also said a lot of, I'm not sure if he wants to, like a lot of stories, but he at 40. So basically, he had chemotherapy first, and then went to Philadelphia for radiation, and it was that was a very, very beautiful experience. Whatever. It was very, very, so much chesed, unbelievable chesed, unbelievable. We stayed at the Ronald McDonald House in Philadelphia, And this place is like unbelievable. It's like a 120-story like hotel, and everything is free. You're like, the rooms are free, the food's free. They have a game room. They have busing to the hospital every 20 minutes for free. It's like I went to the front desk. I'm like, I don't know if you're Jewish or like something called chesed, and like this whole house is like a house of chesed. Now, of course, she ended up being Jewish, so she knew what I was talking about. But like,
Oh, wow.
I mean, High Lifeline RCCS also amazing, next level. But like, this is just like such a unique experience. So my wife stayed with him for 7 weeks. I went back to Pittsburgh during the week, and then I went to Philadelphia for Shabbos, and then we had a bar mitzvah. We could talk about that. But so about 40 weeks, we actually thought that he was going to be okay. I mean, not okay. We thought we'd get through the whole. Basically, he'll go on maintenance. Like he'll get through the whole thing. His scans would be all clear, and then you just go on maintenance. Chas v'shalom, wait for relapse. But like we were talking about if he's going to yeshiva and stuff like that. And then
Maintenance, you mean like remission?
Yeah, remission. Yeah, we thought for a minute at week number like 38, we were like, wow, like we're almost done. Like scans were pretty good, and like the doctors were happy, and like he was feeling good. We were talking about going to yeshiva. He wanted to go to Denver. We thought maybe he should go to Philly. He wanted to go to Denver. My other son's in Denver. I remember walking to shul with him, like, wow, like we're actually handling going to yeshiva. But then his eye looked a little weird, whatever. And I said, oh, it looks weird. We went to the doctor, and the cancer was basically like mamish everywhere. Like everywhere. Like the list was so long where the cancer was. Like I told my wife, they should just tell us where the cancer is not, like his pinky, that's it. Everywhere else. So I didn't know how to tell him. I didn't know how to tell him that like the doctor did, like almost like they didn't feel like it was worth it to even go on with treatment because really couldn't do anything anymore. I didn't know how to tell him. And I slept in his room in the hospital bed that night with him. I got up in the morning. I came home. I went to Rite Aid with one of my son-in-laws. And when I got back home, he was on the phone with my daughter. And my daughter said, Daddy, take the phone. He's saying crazy things. So I said, Yitzy, what's going on? I said, Daddy, I love you. Hashem loves you. We can't take it out on Hashem. We can't be mad at anybody. But I finished my mission on this world. And I mean, then he kept it going on. And my daughter typed it while he was saying it because we don't want to forget what he was saying. I can't look at the text. It's too painful to look at it. But he just said, like, he did a lot of tshuva. My wife just told me on the phone today that she was listening to the recordings of him where he was saying how he was very upset that maybe people thought he was more chashiv than he was. And he was like, if somebody give him $1 million, he would take the $1 million instead of learning, and he feels so terrible about that. And then, he can't be mad at Hashem, he just is like, he asked for a Sefer Torah. He asked that we give stuck every day. He asked that anytime it's hard for us to do mitzvah, we should think about him to give us chizah. Like, he really was a very...
How much was this before he was nifter?
I mean, he was always like super unique, but like these type of things are probably the last maybe like 3-4 weeks where he kind of knew. I think he really understood that he is going to die. Like he knew that he's going to be nifter. I mean,
wow.
We had a whole ma'aser with his name. We asked him Shmuel about changing his name, but he said not to change his name. He should be able to learn whatever. But like, that was like our last ditch effort basically, but I think he really just, I remember he told my daughter, he told us things. I want to save a Torah. I'm scared to go to Shemayim. Who am I going to know there? He said, what do you mean? We said, Zaydi's there, and, my grandparents are there, and, it's going to be so nice. And yeah, he was, I got very...
You told him like, oh, don't talk like that. You just kind of validated him and tried to answer his questions.
Yeah, well, I don't want to tell him not to talk like that because he's going to die, I'm not going to give, we definitely gave him, we did everything for him. We tried everything, High Lifeline, RCCS, different types of medicines. We did everything, everything. But, we didn't, during those first 9-10 months where he wasn't on the plate. So every time we bring it up, we would say, Maisa, today you're alive, with Hashem tomorrow, it'd be the same. And we have to take day by day. It's a kayam machadim, whatever. It's a vart I heard actually, but one day at a time.
Wow.
And that's what we did. And then at the end, it was like it was very, I would say very, not abrupt, but like it went from like pretty good to like very bad, So, but my wife really always thought the whole time that it's such a severe cancer with very terrible relapse. If it relapses, it's like basically it's over anyway. And what he had all these different like fusion positive mutations. Like it was really just it was not good. But yeah, he was a very, very special, very good boy. Really, I mean, just, like very special boy, unbelievable boy.
So should we talk about his?
What's that?
Should we talk about his bar mitzvah?
Yes. Well, I'll tell you, Yitzy, he was such an unbelievable kid. He made such an impact. Like I'm very competitive in sports, and my older son is like an unbelievable athlete, and his name was Yehuda, and Yitzy was like Yehuda 2.0 because Yitzy was like just unbelievable. And at Shiva, we got letters from non-Jewish mothers who went to the game just to watch the best kid be the nicest kid.
Really?
Like, their sons weren't even playing. They went to see Yitzy. Like,
where was this? In like
Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh. They have it's called Squirrel Hole Baseball. It's like a lot of teams. They have all-star games. Travel stuff. Like when you live out of town, you can do these type of things. You're not. So like people came to watch him. People. They want to rename the street that goes up to the baseball field after Yitzy. The guy did it for the guy in charge, Randy Franco, who's Jewish. He said Yitzy was the best kid he ever had in 50 years. And just all around, he was like the best athlete, the nicest kid, mom's just sweetest kid.
Unbelievable.
And then this is bar mitzvah. So so when he was 10 during COVID, he got up every morning because, school started at a certain time during COVID. He had to go log on to see his Rebbe. So he would get up early and he would do 2 psukim every day when he was 10 of the Har B'chul Kaisai. I don't know how to lane. So he taught himself how to lane with the online Rabbi Fessel, and he did Har B'chul Kaisai every day 2 psukim. And he taught himself the Har B'chul Kaisai and the Haftarah when he was 10. And then before Bar Mitzvah, we got a Bar Mitzvah teacher, Rabbi Mandelbaum, just to kind of go over with him. But then he got sick right away when he was 12. He got sick. So he didn't really see it. And then we were in Shop, Philadelphia for Bar Mitzvah. And I actually just looked up an email. I saw my daughter put together a spreadsheet. They wanted to make Bar Mitzvah for him at my Mechu'in, Rabbi Reber, Mayor Reber, who has a kollel in Philadelphia. And the Rebers were unbelievable people. We're going to make it, be geschmack, be amazing. And we were rounded down in the house. It was Friday, it was Erev Shabbos. He had radiation that day. And I said, Yitzy, do you want to go for Shabbos for Bar Mitzvah? And he said, I don't want to go. I'm not feeling well. And then he felt bad. He felt bad because he was letting me down. So I feel like I want him to do it. I want him to go to have, not even lane. I want to, all his sisters are going to be there. My son was in from yeshiva also. So he ended up going and we got there. And Friday night, it was very beautiful. We had a whole meal, just a family. And then Friday night, he went upstairs to the shul and he went over the whole laning with my other son. And then Shabbos day, he actually laned Bahar B'chul Kaisai and Haftarah. And while he was laning, he saw a security camera in the corner. And he actually asked me to ask my Mechu'in if it's possible to see if they got him on video. And my Mechu'in doesn't want me to tell anybody, but the video actually captured Yitzy's bar mitzvah and the night before learning with my son, going over the parsha. So we have, security footage of Yitzy's bar mitzvah, which I probably will never watch ever again because I can't handle it. But it is, my wife watches it and we've seen it, and yeah, very, very special for sure. Yeah.
Was that a mistake? Isn't the video not supposed was that a mistake just because it's Shabbos and it's not supposed to be? No,
the way the psak is that really a lot of shuls and kurlam have videos. But as far as I know, the psak is if the screen that it's recording on is off, it's okay. A lot of shuls have video cameras, security cameras, but you could always get the video. Obviously, no shuls give out bar mitzvah videos, right? That's not what we do. But for Yitzy, I pulled the cancer card on my mechu'in, and he said okay. He said not to tell anybody, but so we have that, and actually I had a client who didn't in my own practice who doesn't live in Philadelphia, but he was there for that Shabbos, and he didn't realize that me, the therapist, was Yitzy's father. So we spoke about, somehow it came up, and he said that was the most special Shabbos. That kid at his bar mitzvah, it was the most special Shabbos of his entire life. I said I don't want to tell you, it was my son. Like that was that's.
But that's like probably one of those like memories to hold on to so tightly. Like for someone to say that's like major.
Yeah, a lot of memories. We have a lot of memories. We did a lot of stuff together. We all did. I mean, he was very close with all my kids, and we have a lot of memories together. A lot.
How did your children handle his patira?
It's a good question. In the beginning when he was sick, like mamish in the beginning, I remember I called we found it, I think, on a Thursday, and I called my kids Thursday night, and if you know Yitzy, he's like the sweetest kid. It's so crazy. I remember all my daughters freaked out. Like they just crying and screaming, it was really bad. And then, they gathered themselves, and, they were very we started to Hilm chat, and I mean, Hilm chat was like, even now people say, I mean, I think it happens a lot. Like the Hilm chat still goes even after someone's nifter, but they're very, very on top of Hilm chat, making people to get on Shabbos, and they did a lot of stuff for him, and it was hard. It was very, very hard. I mean, when they came up, they were all out of the house. So when they came home, if Yitzy felt well, Shabbos was nice. If Yitzy didn't feel well, it was very hard to see him just like being nauseous all Shabbos, But each one handled it differently. Some of them don't talk about him at all. Some of them talk about him a lot. Some of them are in the middle. I guess it's like, but I would say,
balance yourself as like a father and a therapist. Like they don't want therapy from you, probably.
No, I don't give him therapy. I don't give him therapy. I mean, everybody's different. We all mourn differently. We grieve differently, and I never forced them to talk about it. I mean, sometimes we want to talk about Yitzy, like if they're all there for Shabbos. Like on the yard side, we made a beautiful thing. We made a sima shas on the yard side. I spoke at school about Yitzy. That was emotional because the whole school was like in mourning. I told you they're renaming the school after him. It's called the Yitzy Sutofsky campus. Like an $11 million building. But my daughter. Actually, one of my daughters who's engaged now. So she had a very, very hard time. She was very angry. For sure, very upset and very sad and very angry. But I think the fact that Yitzy was saying all those things, like can't be mad at Hashem, I finished my mission on my in this world. We have to love Hashem. He loves us. We'll be together forever, always. I think the fact that he was able to say all those things of like closure really gave that daughter, and all of us really, but that daughter especially, like a massive nechama. Like she was mamish upset, like angry, and she really got a nechama out of that. Like it was like you saw like a massive difference, So
did you like think about the wedding and like your child is missing? Like you're not making a wedding with your full family?
We never made it. Well, we never had a simcha yet without him. I mean, like my niece got married, but like a family simcha. My daughter got engaged, and Yitzy wasn't there.
It's a year and a half. You told me, right?
Yeah. My other daughter had a baby whose name she actually named him Yitzy.
Wow.
His name is Yitzchak. I'm sorry, Yaakov Yitzchak. And we call him Yitzy. I mean, it's very weird to call him Yitzy. Like we're not perfect at it. Like his other grandmother called him Yitzy, and his mother called him Little Yitzy. We call him he was a baby for a long time, the baby. And now we transition, now he's Little Yitzy. Oh, where's Little Yitzy? Or but it's still weird. But yeah, it was in a chama. You had the bris for sure. It's still it's raw. It's very raw for sure. Very raw.
I got married like a year, and I got engaged right after my brother's first yahrzeit. So I got married, whatever, it was less than a year and a half, after he was niftar. And I remember like when the photographer said, so this is the whole family. And I saw that pain that crossed my father's face. I was like, oh my gosh, why didn't I say anything to the photographer beforehand? Like that was
right.
like I saw that pain. It was so huge.
Right. Well, because you taking family pictures, you're saying?
We were taking family pictures and my brother wasn't here. And like, it was very obvious.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know how we're going to do. We've taken pictures. Well, we've definitely taken pictures since then, not like chasna family pictures, but I think it's going to be on people's minds, we'll probably say something about it, I guess, but yeah, I mean, I'm sure it'll be emotional, I mean, just thinking about it makes me very, very sad, actually. Like, it's emotional. Like, like my other two daughters got mad. Like this son-in-law, he is the only son-in-law who he didn't experience Yitzy. Like my other two son-in-laws, very close to them. We had his last two nights he was alive. We had my other son-in-law Shlomi, he plays guitar. We had the last two nights. Yitzy wasn't conscious, but well, they were there for a few days, so he definitely interacted with them. Like he's very weak. So one of my son-in-laws is Shlomi. He was Reb Shloim, and then my other son-in-law Boaz would try to steal candy. Boaz, I see you taking candy. And then he I think he had a seizure and he was unconscious. He was basically like just sedated, I guess, for 2 days. And every night we had actually a crazy story. We had a kumsitz in his room for those last 2 nights. My son-in-law Shlomi is very beautiful guitar and whatever. So he sang, and it was really, really emotional. Really, really, really emotional. And the first night they were there, we sang, and they left very, very late. The second night they were there, we were singing, and it was so crazy. But at 12 o'clock, my wife said, okay, it's 12 o'clock, everybody go home. So everybody just got up and left. And I remember thinking to myself, at that moment, I'm like, that is so weird. Everybody just got up and left. Like last night, she said, everybody go home. Nobody left. Everybody stays. Nobody and she said, 12 o'clock? Okay, 12 o'clock, everybody go. And then everybody left. They shut the door, and me and my wife went back to Yitzy, and we held his hand, and he took his last, Yitzy is neshama, basically, his last breath.
Oh my goodness!
It was so weird because everybody, it was like it didn't make any sense. I remember thinking that's so weird. Everybody just listened to mommy. Nobody listens to mommy. Everybody wants to stay with Yitzy. So
what did you do? You called everyone back, or there was no point even?
No, we didn't call me back. He was just. I don't think they would have been able to handle it. It was just, it's a tough call in the moment what to do. Call me back, and so we just spent a lot of time with him in the room, and we were in touch with my friend Rabbi Admon. He's like a chaplain. He was actually in Kuwait, so he is in charge. He's a Chevra Kadisha in Pittsburgh, so he spoke to me a lot on the phone from Kuwait, and he took care of everything. I mean, I think I totally mentioned the community here is it's unbelievable. The Pittsburgh community, mamish carried us. They carried us the whole time.
Asked the Chevra Kadisha take him away, you and your wife?
No, we weren't there. I took him away. No. We said goodbye to him. Chevra Kadisha went into the room, and we went to a different lounge area to talk to one of the Rabbanim who was going to do the Levaya.
Mm.
Yeah. It's interesting to think about that, how you're able to I remember Yitzy was nifter, we were sitting with him, we were holding his hand, we were really just, I don't know, we weren't hysterical, I don't know, it was weird, you're just in the moment kind of, and then you have a conversation with a Rav about the Levaya that's happening the next day, and I remember Chas v'shalom, not joking around, but just having really, who's going to say Tehillim, because it was Hanukkah, so we can't really have a spadim, and the Rav said maybe this person should do it. I'm no, I'd rather just keep it. Whatever. It's interesting how you're able to be present, very present. Yeah,
And
I'm
were
not
you
sure.
able to speak by Levaya?
Yeah. I spoke. My two son-in-laws spoke. His Rebbe spoke.
Like Haspaden was saying, we can't really have Haspaden, but
Right. Yeah, but it was short. It was definitely shorter. It was
shorter.
short. Yeah, it was definitely shorter. And yeah, then we had the Levaya. He's very, very close. Like he's very. I mean, I think it also helps a little bit, like you said. Like, let's say before my daughter got engaged, I went to the cemetery. Before the chasana, I'll go to the cemetery. Like,
Right.
it's very accessible. It's like a probably less than a 10-minute drive from my house. Probably 8-9 minute drive.
That's
So
amazing.
yeah, I mean, at first, I for a long time I couldn't look at pictures at all, like mamish at all, and then now I'm able to look at pictures. But I can't. I don't want to hear. I wish I could hear his voice. I can't even imagine hearing his voice again. Um, but then I didn't want to make it that the cemetery becomes a place that I can't go to. Like if you don't go for a long time, you just build it up as this place that like I can't handle. So I don't go crazy often, but I go probably once a month. I feel like I should go more, but like it's right here. So like like yesterday was Shabbat Shabbat, I thought maybe I would go, but I didn't end up going. Like, I don't mind going. Like it's a thing that I don't mind. If I would have.
Were you considering burying him in Eretz Yisrael, or he was like, no, I need him near me?
Man, my brain just defaulted to my Rebbe. Like I have a Rabbi Reingold from Silver Spring, and he says, Kivi, you want? He said, you want? He told my wife also. My Rebbe was like unbelievable. He drove in like 5 times, from Maryland. He was like unbelievable, but he's like, Kivi, you want him near you. Like you're gonna be in Pittsburgh for a while, hopefully, and the only place we thought was Lakewood because I have some kids there, or maybe Eretz, but like we wanted him near us, so
Yeah.
he is very, very, very close. And yeah, and I told the community is amazing. Someone paid for the Levaya, someone paid for the Matzeva. Everybody just.
Wow, that is amazing. And how did his classmates deal with this?
It's funny. During that time, I actually worked in school. During the whole time, I'm the therapist in the school, so I schmoozed with the kids all the time. So I always tell people that the hardest kids I had to talk to were the kids his age. Like, I didn't mind schmoozing with other kids from all the different ages, but like his specific class, there are a few kids I would schmooze with all the time. Like I had very hard, I had clients his age that I found hard to talk to them. Not because I was upset, like, oh, why them, why Yitzy. It just was like, it's hard to talk to kids his age, it just made me think about him too much, I guess. This before he was nifter. And then, but kids are very interesting. Kids are very, in a way they're resilient, and in a way they're also like, they're not awkward. They just don't like adults. Every time adult sees me, it's like they feel the need to be Menachem Avos. Like I'm a year and a half out, and like every time adults see me, they like, Kiva, how are you? Like kids are like, it's called emotionally saturated. They have a lot on their mind already in their own life, so they just want to talk about themselves. So I'm happy about that. Like I don't want to talk about Yitzy with you right now. I want to just talk about it. But everybody loved Yitzy, so he had a few friends that actually unbelievable. Yeah, so his friends, they're really good. They daven from every day. He said to him every day. They learned from him. At graduation, which I didn't go to, my wife went. Every kid spoke about him. Part of their speech.
Wow.
And yeah,
you didn't go through it because it was too hard for you?
Yeah. I'm not looking for like unnecessary pain.
Right.
So yeah, I had clients that night. I didn't want to go to the graduation. A few boys spoke about him this year also in graduation. Like some of his friends are younger than him, but he actually became very, very close to the boy in Lakewood. I won't say his last name, but really it's Sadak of a boy. His name may have been Yamin, but like they got basically my cousin's neighbor in Lakewood also had cancer. Baruch Hashem, he's doing fine. But Yitzy and him became like unbelievable friends. They got chemo together, and
wow.
Yeah, so very, very, very special boy. Mamish and him and Yitzy were like super, super, super close.
So then it must have been very scary for this boy when Yitzy was niftar, no?
Yeah, very hard. Yeah, very, very hard for him. Like, I mean, he probably spoke to Yitzy more than anybody else, maybe besides my wife and me, maybe more than me, because they spent like hours and hours and hours. They would play video games, like the same video game they would play together. They would be on the phone together. There's thousands and thousands of text messages between them. He was older. This boy is older. He's like a tzaddik of a kid, and his parents are really, really special also. And they, so like it's very, very hard. I think it was, very hard. Yeah. And my parents also, we had to tell my parents. That was hard. The way we did that was we called the highlight. We didn't know what to do. I mean, Chai Lifeline actually gave us really good advice. Very good advice. My sister and brother flew out there into Florida to be there when we told them, because they're older, and they need like support, So that was very, very, my siblings also were unbelievable. And my older sister, she's like, does everything. So she flew out there. My brother-in-law also does everything. And they were there when I told my parents.
So was that hard for you that you had to support them when you really needed their support at that time? Or
no, I didn't need their support, and I'm very close. I speak to my parents every day. But like I don't feel like I needed their support. I mean, they're very appropriate. I didn't like lean on my parents for support. Like.
But did they lean on you for support that was hard to give?
Not really. They probably lean on my sisters more. They just they don't want to bother us. They want to know what's going on. Updates.
Right.
For most of the time, besides the fact that he was very nauseous for a lot of it, like everything was kind of going. Like scans were okay. He was like there was nothing crazy to report. Just that he didn't feel well. But like there was never like a.
No, but the last 4 weeks, once he relapsed.
Oh yeah. But that everybody was like very. They just like kind of like stayed away, kind of. We were like in the zone. Like me, my wife, the doctors,
right.
all the people. They weren't prying or asking. Like. Right. I mean, the community's unbelievable. Got one of my close friends, Danny Crowd, is CEO of the school. Like he flew to Israel to see his daughter when he heard Yitzy was really not doing. Like he just got right back in the plane and flew home. And my parents were sleeping in his house. Like he slept on the couch, and my parents were in his bedroom.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Like for like a week,
Wow.
So, yeah. It's very hard.
Are there big differences in grieving between you and your wife?
Yes. Yeah, very much. Well, my wife was, everybody knows my wife she was unbelievable, just like next level unbelievable. And I guess every mother would be like that, you'd assume, but like just because at a certain point he had a feeding tube because he lost a lot of weight. And then he had the, when you get IV, they put a port in, a port. So he had a port and he had a feeding tube, and my wife was just like, there was never a moment where it was like, she couldn't do it. It was like, just always at night, like I'm like dead tired. She's like getting the food and putting in the, the, whatever it's called, in the feeding tube. It's, like she just did everything she can. And we definitely agree differently. I think about Yitzy every second, really, like weirdly so. I think about it all the time. I have no problem thinking about him. But in the beginning, I didn't want to see any pictures or hear his voice or anything like that. I was happy to talk about him. We actually started like a WhatsApp chat, like memories, and we just like unloaded like hundreds and hundreds of memories about him, so we won't forget. Just like tons of memories. And my wife is much more. I mean, she really recorded hours and hours and hours of Yitzy. So not in any obsessive way, but she really listens to him. She'll be cooking for Shabbos and she'll be listening to Yitzy, or she'll look at tons of pictures and video and the record and the audio stuff, and she found it very meaningful. Like, I mean, I think at first she was kind of taken that I didn't want to see any pictures. Like, don't you want to see Yitzy? Don't you want to not forget him? But then she understood, like, for me, it's just too painful. Like, she was it didn't cause any friction or conflict, just we grieved differently. Even now, she'll listen to the audio all the time. And I'll send the audio to people. I send the audio to Rabbi Akiva. I send the audio to some Arabian because it's like very holy stuff, but I can't imagine hearing his voice. At this point, I can't imagine hearing his voice.
Right. But it's still very recent. I mean, that could still like change.
Yeah. We went on the Miriam Shabbaton, and that therapist, what's her name?
Hindi Klein.
Yeah, she's unbelievable. So Hindi Klein, is unbelievable. So we spoke about Yitzy because she had a story about her son, also like super.
Yeah, neat. With the Ribnitzer Rebbe.
Right, yeah, like very special. And then she said, "Come on, look at pictures." That's what she told me. I said, "It's only been a year and a half. It's only been a year at that time." Then she told my wife, "Okay, leave him alone. It's only been a year. I can't." Yeah, it's very raw. It's mamash raw. But and now I look at pictures. I'm good with pictures now.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah. And there are a lot of things gave. I guess. It gave us a lot. I think a lot of the community gave us because like the fact that Yitzy was he was like, it was a journey. Like it wasn't abrupt. We were with him for 10 months. Like we had no other kids home. We weren't juggling carpools and dinners, and even though everybody made his dinner, but we weren't. We were just very, very hyper focused on Yitzy. There was a lot of quality time, intense quality time. And we I was gonna say we it was a journey. I want to say something. 1 second. I can't remember. Yeah,
we were talking about Hindi Klein, and that she told your wife to give you space. It's not so much to do that.
Right, what she did, and. No, I think about him all the time. I can't remember. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh no, the community, right? The community was very good, and I mean, there's certain things, like we certain things are painful, but it's like you. I think at the end of the day, you want your child to be remembered. Like it's like
definitely not. I think for sure.
Right. It's very meaningful. Like so. It's painful that the school is going to be named after him, and there's going to be a picture in the hallway of him, which is painful, but it's like it's permanent. He's remembered, and we put out a sefer. We permanent. I'm coming out with a book on parenting. For like you just want his friends talk about him still, and he's still very remembered. I wonder how it's going to be in 10 years. Like with new kids in school, but very very.
Wow.
Very remembered.
Any important parenting messages before we end?
I don't know. I mean, I think about I think everybody's situation is so unique. Like I'll tell you, like when I was going through this whole thing. So again, I'm not a holy guy at all. I'm really just a schmoozer, and so one thing that helped me, I really worked on my davening, and it became that was very helpful to me. Like I'm 47 years old, so I guess at 45, you realize how little you really know. You don't even know what you're saying, just the regular words. Like I could ask people 10 words, they don't know what the words even mean. You say it every day. So I really, really worked on that. I had a chavrusa, that almost like the second to last night he was nifter. We did the malbim on Tehillim of davening, which is like really life-changing. And then I also had a sefer called Psuke Yeshua B'Tachin, which is actually put together by Rabbi Shmuel Hurth, who I got very, very close with, who lost his daughter Maki. I think people know Maki. It's called Maki's Melodies, I think. So Maki.
Yeah, they put out a big brochure, like a
yeah. So Shmuel Hurth is like really one of the most special people. Him and his wife are just uniquely special. He is so proactively engaging. I didn't want to talk to anybody at that time, and he was like, he's like a friendly Sefer Torah, like really just unbelievable.
Wow.
So the Sefer, and the reason why I know that is because the Sefer I had, Psuke Yeshu B'Tachin, which are like Psukim about B'Tachin, that I had with me like mamish the whole time, the whole 10 months. I told Rivki Gov and Chai Lifeline, who are unbelievable, I said I want to donate Svarim to Chai Lifeline. They said, we don't really preach, like we don't give out Svarim, that's like, it's, everybody has their, I understood, but she said, I went to seminary with his wife, I'll put you in touch with the Mechab. So then I got in touch with Shmuel Hurth, and even till today, we're pretty close. I speak to him pretty often, and his sefer gave me a lot of, but and a lot of Divrei Torah kind of carried me a lot. I think my kids actually saw that they had a hard time, and almost like were a little jealous that like somehow these Divrei Torah were talking to me, and they kind of carried me, even though obviously it was super painful. But I'm not trying to say that kept me fine the whole time. It gave me, a lot of the different Torah really just resonated.
Everyone has their own like path or their own way that they connect to Hashem during tragedy. So this is one of the ways that works for you.
Right.
Work for everyone.
Right. I just saw that. I saw from an article, like in the bottom of the article, Chumash from Avram Zlotowitz, that the two people said Kriya Shema without, Yaakov Avinu and Rabbi Akiva, and like it's like they're, two most, Yaakov Avinu saw Yosef as unbelievable simcha, like Chiyas HaMesim, he said Shema Yisrael, so close to Hashem, and Rabbi Akiva in one of the hardest times, and he's getting killed, also you feel close to Hashem, he said Shema Yisrael. It's so we definitely, but I went on the Miriam Shabbaton, which is it was an unbelievable, really an unbelievable Shabbos, and I remember so Glenn, who's like unbelievable, he asked me to speak there. It was just a quick Shabbos afternoon type of thing, and I spoke but I didn't say like a Dvar Torah that preached. It was more just like how we're all together. Yeah, I think being carried by a community is really. My wife's on a Facebook chat. I think it's called something mothers. I forgot what it's called exactly. And a lot of the mothers, when they go, not even when the child is difter, but even while the sickness and even after, also like they feel very alone. Like
very alone.
Very alone.
Mm-hmm.
I think the fact that we live out of town, it's a small community. I think we just feel very, very supported, so it's very, very special, I would say. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, thank you so much. And I am sure that, that there's going to be, different parts will resonate with different people, but it should be an aliyah for Yitzy's neshama, whatever anyone gains.
Amen.
Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, thank you. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
You've just listened to an episode of the Relief from Grief podcast with Miriam Riviere, brought to you by Mayrim. For more episodes, visit the Mayrim website at www.mayrim.org. Help us reach more people who might benefit from this podcast. If you know someone who could find it helpful, please share it with them. If you have questions or comments for the speaker, or if you'd like to suggest a guest for the podcast, we'd love to hear from you. Email us at relieffromgrief@mayrim.org. We look forward to having you join us in the next episode.